Hello chess fans, today I'm going to analyze another over-the-board game I played at the Maritime Chess Festival. So this game was actually against a 2000, and it's somebody who I've played before a long time ago. So maybe 6 years ago. I was only 1800 back then, but I actually managed to win that game. So I came into this game knowing that I probably had to try to play for the win. So my opponent decided to start off with e4, and knowing that I have to play for the win, I decided to go for d6. Looking to be more ambitious out of the opening. So d4, knight f6, attacking the pawn. My opponent defends, and I went for g6 to perk. So I could also go for the Philidor here, or I could go knight b7 or c6, looking for queen a5. Those are also both options. But g6 is sort of maybe the principal idea. Pretty much your bishop can't get out this way, so why not put it over here? And here, I knew my opponent was kind of a solid guy, so I didn't really prep anything before the game. But I sort of expected they would go for something like knight f3, bishop e2, and castles, or something like maybe g3, bishop g2, or something very solid. But they went for f4, which is probably the most aggressive line. So this was already a little bit surprising to me. And I was also thinking, like, okay, it didn't really make sense because I thought my opponent was solid, but I continued with the most natural move, bishop g7. My opponent develops their knight. The idea of f4 is that now you have e4, e5 ideas. And then here, the main line by far is castles. And for example, after bishop d3, knight c6, if they castle here, you have this nice move e5. And then black, I think, is getting close to equality here. And then if e5 here, probably should take. And then here, notice that you shouldn't play knight d5 because after c3, this structure is very strong and you don't have c5. But instead, you should play this move knight h5. In which case, the knight kind of looks strange, but I guess after bishop g4 and f6, the knight can come back into the game. So this is also a line that I have played before. But in this game, I decided that my opponent might not be so familiar with c5, which is the second most popular move. It's also a move that I have played a few times before over the board, so I was like, okay, I probably knew this better than my opponent. So my opponent pretty quickly here took. Now here, I just wanted to point out another interesting line. Here, bishop b5 is the main line, and it's sort of an interesting line here after bishop d7, e5, attacking the knight. Here you can go knight d4, knight g4, and I just wanted to show this line because it's kind of cool. e6 here, knight g5, attacking this pawn because the bishop can't take. Here we would go bishop d4, or sorry, we'd go bishop b5. They go knight e6 with this fork, and it looks like we're losing because if we move, then they take here with check, and then they take our knight, and then also our bishop's hanging. But here we have this really nice move, bishop d4, and then after knight d8, there's this very interesting draw here. So I just thought I'd show that. That's by no means forced. There's multiple ways but for both sides to avoid that, but it's an interesting line. So my opponent took here, which is the move I'm most familiar with. I went queen a5, and now I'm pinning here and threatening to take this pawn. So right now this knight's defending, but it's pinned. So for example, if they took here, then I have this triple pressure here, I think. Sorry, not like that. And then here white should probably be losing. So instead they went queen d3. So the main line here by far is bishop d3, and then after queen c5 here you go queen e2, looking for bishop e3. For example, castles, bishop e3, queen a5, castles here. And the position is sort of dynamic. So like white is probably slightly better here. They have a little bit of development advantage on black compared to a dragon. So for example, this is a regular dragon setup. Usually they might have a knight on d4 and a queen on d2. So their setup is a little different, but they've also gained some tempos. Notice they have 4 pieces developed and their castles. We only have 2 pieces developed, the knight and the bishop, and we're castled. So I guess here we can develop one more piece, but it's unclear what the exact evaluation is. White is probably slightly better. So that's the main line. Another line I know that's extremely crazy is queen d4. So I'm just going to be going over like a bunch of theory to start this off because I'm just showing you what I knew during the game. And then here after castles, there's this extremely crazy move c takes d6. And now we use knight e4 because the queen is being attacked and also the queen is behind the knight, after which we can fork these 2 pieces. And I'm just going to go through the line right now very quickly. The line gets insane. Now here black's up the exchange. But something like this might happen, and white keeps this extremely strong pawn here, and even though black's up a full exchange, white is very slightly better. So yeah, an extremely crazy line, and I actually knew this going into the game. So my opponent touched their queen, and I'm thinking, okay, they're going to go queen d4, and we're going to play that insanely crazy line, which honestly I'm fine to play because I thought I remembered it in the game. And then they played queen d3. And queen d3 is the 3rd most popular move, and it's a move that I unfortunately did not know. So I did not know this queen d3 move at all. I'd never seen anything like it. And obviously I can't go for here now because they just take with the queen. And wait, why exactly can't I? Oh yeah, sorry, they have queen b5. And after takes, then here. So I was like, okay, that's pretty smart. I can't go for that same knight e4 idea. I mean, I guess now because like the bishop would be hanging in one of those lines. But here I was like, okay, so they're defending their pawn. I guess I have to take here. and then they went bishop e3. So now the queen defends the bishop on e3. They get this free tempo. And here I really should have gone queen a5. And the main line here is with queen a5, here takes, bishop takes here, knight c6 for example, and then castles. And the position is probably equal. Like, I don't actually think white has a big advantage here. It's around plus 0.3 according to the engine, but it doesn't really seem that great for white in all honesty. Like, trading the queens, and when your structure is, the Sicilian structure is supposed to be good for black. So in hindsight, this is what I should have done. Instead here, I'm honestly going to be very honest here. I kind of just lost my mind here. And the next few moves I play were all on tilt for no reason. So already I was caught off guard in the opening. I don't know this line anymore. And here I just played a very stupid move, queen b4. And my idea was that if castles, then I have knight e4. Because if here, then I have bishop here, attacking the queen and also protecting my own queen. So I thought maybe, okay, if he takes, I'm a pawn. Here I'd be winning. And then if he takes with the knight, then I have bishop g7 here and then checkmate, right? So I was like, okay, he can't castle. Now I'm just completely wrong here because he has a3. And then I'm just completely lost. He can just take the knight next move after I move my queen. So he could have totally castled, but he decided to start off with a3 too, which also works because now if takes, he has rook a2. And, you know, I can't, my queen is trapped. So I was only calculating rook b1, in which case I thought, oh wow, here I'm doing well, right? My queen can get back. So yeah, just completely forgot about rook a2. So here already I was like, okay, now I have to go back queen a5, and I'm a little bit tilted already because I allowed him this a3 move for free. This a3 move is objectively a useful move because it, for one, it makes sure the a2 pawn is never hanging, also prevents knight b4 ideas in some positions. And here he went for queen b5, which is his main idea. And here again, I should have just taken here, castles, and then we transposed to that same line where he has this free a3 move. And, you know, a3 is not the most useful move in the world, so I'm not losing, but I definitely have a worse version because a3 is very, very slightly useful. Instead of that, I'm on tilt, and I just lost my mind again. Here, if I take, I can just go knight a6, and then here you see I guard the c7 square. But after knight c7, my opponent went knight b5, and I don't have knight c7. I don't have knight a6 anymore. And yeah, here I'm just like, okay, what am I doing here? I just don't know what I'm doing. And I decided to go for this move, king d7. And I came after a long thought because I can't really go king d8 because they always have knight g5 ideas. And then, okay, if my bishop has to go here, they have ideas like takes. And okay, they're up a pawn. It's very unpleasant. Now at least after king d7, knight g5 doesn't come with tempo. So if they take here, then I can at least take this pawn on e4. So here they went for the logical move e5, getting their pawn out of the attack. Now I went knight d5. And here my opponent, again, plays the best move. Pause your video to see if you can find it while I take a sip of water here. So I personally think, I disagree with the engine's favorite move here actually. The engine likes my opponent's move of bishop d2. I really like this move, bishop a7, because I don't really see what I do. My plan actually was just to go knight c6, and then they castle, and then here I'm just down a pawn. This is just it. I'm just down a full pawn. I have no compensation for the pawn. I actually have negative compensation because their rook is very active. So this was my plan, just to be losing. I guess I have the bishop pair. I guess that's my compensation, but okay, it's +2 there. Now here, I think my opponent said they were worried about like, I can't remember. I think they thought like takes, they had to go like bishop b6 and then I had knight f4 or something. Or no, sorry. They thought they had to go like bishop f2 and then I have knight f4. Yeah, this is what I think my opponent was afraid of or something. So they went bishop d2, which is again the best move. I went knight c6, and here again my opponent plays the best move. So I didn't think bishop d2 was the best move, but most certainly I didn't think my opponent's next move was the best move. Turns out they're both the best move. Here I was expecting bishop c4, attacking my knight. I would go knight c7 here. They would take. I would take back, and here they would, or sorry, yeah. I guess here, sorry, I would take, and then I would take back, and position is slightly better for white because they have this weakness to play around on d6. And if they take here instead, or sorry, not take there, if they take my knight first, and then take here, then I thought I would have takes, and bishop g4. Notice that I can't actually take this pawn here because of bishop f4, and then I just lose the knight. So I have to go bishop g4, take here, and I also have ideas of rook f8. And here I would win my pawn back after a second. For example, takes, and then maybe here first, or I guess, Wait, why can't I win this pawn back? Alright, I guess I totally can, but maybe it's just a little risky. Who knows? But yeah, that was my plan, and that's about equal. So that's what I was thinking he'd do. But then he went c4, and I'm like, okay, what the heck? What is c4? Like, don't I just want to go knight c7 anyway? Then after takes castles, I realized, okay, my position is horrible. I can't really do anything. Here for a long time, I calculated this move, knight takes b5. And after takes, knight d4. And from this position onward, you're going to see me make a lot of bad decisions because I think a position is drawish and I don't want to get a draw. And when I'm very much worse against my opponent, I should have probably not thought like this. But here, I was worried about, okay, here the objectively best line is takes, and then bishop c4. Don't like try to ask me to explain why this is apparently completely winning for white. I don't understand. It's apparently +2. To me, it doesn't look like that. But instead of that, what I was worried about was this move bishop b4. So notice that if takes, and bishop b4 here, I would have bishop e3 with this fork and then defending this after taking on f4. So instead of that, what if he just goes bishop b4 right away, and after knight takes, now, not rook takes, bishop takes. He's starting bishop e5 to win my bishop, and my knight's also hanging. So I have to do something about it. So let's say knight d4. Then I thought he had bishop c5. I have to get out of the pin somehow. King c7, takes. And this position is +1. My opponent is just up a pawn for no reason. It's a doubled pawn, but it's probably a draw. So after, for example, bishop e6, bishop e2, let's say like rook c8, I don't know, king gets out of the way. I guess king can't get out of the way. King has to go like b4 and b2. And then like king b8 check here, bishop f5. I don't know. Position is drawish, but I have no winning chances. And so I was like, okay, I can't go for that. I have no winning chances there. So instead I went for an ambitious move, knight e8. Because, okay, I'm keeping more pieces on the board. I'm defending my weakness. And, you know, maybe my king gets out one day. And here my opponent decided to go for knight g5. And it's with the idea that if I go for like f6, then they have knight f7, rook f8, and then takes. And I'm pinned here. And I'm going to lose a piece back here, and I'm down a pawn. But I think what they missed was a6. Now they just have to go back. Now I get my king to the defense. They go here, and they just have to go back with their knight. So I gained a few moves, and my king got to safety. Went from d7 to f8. So here I thought that that was a little bit of a mistake by them. Instead of knight g5, they probably should have gone for like bishop d3 or something, just developing and not wasting all that time. But they did. Here I went for bishop e6, bishop e3, and rook c8, trying to get some pressure here. And here again, my opponent went b4. And here I have a move that is very good, and it equalizes position from being worse the whole entire game. But you're going to see why I do not want to equal position. Here I have the move b5. Now if they take, I have knight b4, just winning a knight, so they can't do that. And if you're wondering why, it's because there's a check here. So here they would go knight b6, getting their knight out of the attack, also attack my rook. My rook has to stay aligned with the king, so I have to go rook c7. Now what's white's best move? It's knight a8, attacking the rook. The rook has to stay aligned with the king, otherwise they take here. Rook c8, and then knight b6, I'm going to get a draw. So I can't do this. I can't play this move because I cannot draw this game. There's absolutely no way I'm allowing myself to draw this game, so I can't do that. So instead I play a very bad move, f5. I wanted to get my king out and get my rooks connected, but of course, aesthetically, f5 is a terrible move. Like, I'm blocking my bishop from going to this nice diagonal. Here my opponent went bishop e2. I went king f7, knight b6, rook d8, and knight g4, another really strong move. I went knight c7. Here I just have to give up my bishop because the bishop is just bad because of this f5 move, and this knight is just powerful. So here they took it, went for bishop f3, now getting their bishop on this great diagonal. Their bishops are doing amazing. Their knight's completely destroying my position. My pawn is backwards. Here I'm feeling really bad. Like, I opted for not a draw to go into a much worse position. And here my opponent, again, I went here, and again, my opponent plays the best move. So other than knight g5, my opponent has actually just played a perfect game, and I'm very much getting annoyed. Also, b4 was slightly inaccurate, but it's the type of move that's like, to play the best move, it's a draw, and I'm not going to play a draw. So here I went for knight cd4, and this is a very tricky move. Now if takes here, I have a really nice tactic, knight f4. Now if takes, then I have check with this fork. If takes here, then I also have this check with this fork. And if takes here, I also have check with this fork. Or sorry, here his rook is just hanging. So that would have been a nice tactic, but he didn't fall for it. He went bishop d5, and then I went king f8 because now he's starting to take here because this is pinned, so I have to get out of that. And here, my opponent ended up blundering. Here I was expecting king b1 just to get out of all these nasty forks, and then I thought knight e2, and I thought he's just losing this pawn, so takes. I guess I can take this way, rook b3 or something, and I thought, okay, the position is interesting. I think I'm probably losing, but, you know, it's crazy. Like rook e7, if he takes on a6, then maybe I have knight g2 as well. And, okay, this is just a wild position. Like, yeah, I'm probably losing, but, okay, I'm willing to play this craziness. Instead of that, the engine points out a very dumb winning move here for white, king d2. And I don't have a move anymore because he's covering these knight e2 checks. And if I go like rook e7 or something, he can just go rook d1 and then move his king to e1, and I'm completely lost. King f2, and that's where the king wanted to be. And I just don't have moves anymore. So this would have been a really, really nice thing to see by my opponent. But thankfully for me, my opponent didn't see it. Instead, went for rook d1 and now blundered knight e2. And after here, I just win a full pawn. Now, apparently here, he still has a really nice move. Pause your video to see if you can find white to move and get a nice position here. White is still better after bishop b7, sacrificing the exchange. I think it's kind of difficult to do this, especially after f4, bishop e2. I don't know. It's not the most clear thing in the world. So instead of that, my opponent moved their rook out of the way. Now I took. Now I'm just up a pawn. I went king e7. They went rook d2. And I just want to point out, at this point, my opponent started playing perfect. Like, actually, every single move was amazing. So rook d2, a really good idea, preventing f4. So my main idea here is if they do nothing, like if they go rook here, then I go f4 here, expand on the queen side, and bring a bishop to e5. Here I'm much better. So instead of that, they go here, preventing f4, because then they have this fork. So I go bishop f8, trying to defend this. This is, again, a very, very bad move. I should have gone g4, trying to push f4 anyways. Or, sorry, g5 there. I went bishop f8. Now g4. Excellent move, opening up the f-file, getting them counterplay. And here I took. Now here they have a really, really stupid, completely winning move. They have rook f1. And then after rook f2, there's no way to defend this. And also they have the threat of going knight d5. My only move would be here and then check. So this is just stupid engine stuff. So nobody's going to play that. Here, now I went king f7, getting out of knight d5 check. They went here. And again here, I completely blundered. I really should have gone bishop g7 here to allow some space for my king. I went rook c8. Again, this is completely winning as an idea. We both missed it. Knight b6. Now I go rook c6. And so knight b6, knight d5 was not very smart because my rook's better now. Knight b3. And now I went for this nice tactic, knight c5. Notice the bishop's hanging. So if he takes, his bishop falls with check. So he has to take with the bishop. Takes. Now his knight's hanging. Now he went here. Now here I took, getting rid of my weakness. And here I blundered again. I should move my king here. But I went here. And again, he has the same winning idea. Rook f2 here, it would be game over. We both didn't see it. My opponent went here, and at this point I'm up a pawn in the endgame from that terrible opening. I was very happy. I went bishop g7, trading the rooks, and here my opponent went knight b6. And here's maybe my last chance to try to get some winning chances. I could have gone rook d4, and after rook f1, king g8, let's say rook e7, with the same idea to go here. Here he's one move slower than what would have possibly happened in the game. Notice that here takes, let's say rook e7, h4 here would actually be winning after rook d3, you know, king moves wherever, and then I can stop the pawn, and then this promotes and wins the game. So that might have been my last chance. Now none of that is forced by any means. Like after h5, he definitely does not have to, and notice I need that h5 move. If I go even one move slower, he's actually in time to promote. So that's interesting why h5 is the best move, but notice none of that is even forced. Like he could go here, keep the rook here, and it's still a draw. But that was my only chance to win. Instead I went rook e7, and at this point there's definitely no winning chances. So my opponent went b5, takes, nice move, king b4. He just needs to trade pawns. And here my opponent went knight c4. Maybe a cleaner way to draw would be to go knight c8, attacking my rook, and then knight d6, and this would transpose to the game pretty much. After knight c4, he gave me the option to go here. It's still a draw though. Here, king g6, and knight b6 is still a draw after h4. Here, h3, he has rook g1, and it's just still a draw. Here, c6, and yeah, no point in continuing. But I went bishop c7, which is just clearly a draw. And yeah, here there's not much to do. My opponent took, and here I went h3. Here we got this position, and this is just a really known draw. And I gave a bunch of checks for a little while, and eventually I took here and stalemated. There's no way to win this position anymore. It's pretty classic. check. You just have to know to go here and then give up the pawn. So it was a draw. I was pretty disappointed in the draw by the end because I thought I probably missed winning chances. Turns out I never really had many winning chances. Like I actually even was losing the game multiple points through the opening. I blundered that rook f1 thing. So definitely good to actually save this game against a lower rated player. But yeah, that's it in today's video, guys. If you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.